Welcome back to the Bearded Garage. So I've done a video or two before on maintenance of my Ferris IS600 here. It is a 52-inch mower. I've actually loved it. I've had a couple of years. I've had one simple problem, and I had the Clinton tractor here is the one that I bought it from. Great people. But the problem I have, and you can see these headlights. One, they're wobbly. They've been wobbly since I got it. But two, you notice this one is a different color. So they've changed color a few times. I actually had it taken back to the shop at Clinton at one point. They had some. They did the very first service. I had to deal with them that they would do the service for me. So I took it back and I told them, hey, one of the lights is burned out, and I got it back and both lights worked, but they always get hot as hell, and a different one burnt out. So I looked at trying to buy one, and the kit is $300 from Ferris, and then I was just mowing this week, and it's getting late. It's mid-September now, and the second one went out. So now I have no lights on the mower. I can't finish if it's 6:30 at night. It's just getting too late. So rather than spend the $300 and fix these for a third time, I started pulling them apart, and so that's why this one's open. But I started pulling them apart, see if I could just replace the bulbs, and they're actually so rusted and rotted on the inside that the connections are all just shot. So I have decided to try a slightly different fix. So what I did is I went to Amazon and I looked for a pretty simple LED light bar, and this one was from Nylite. And it looks like a LED light bar for a Jeep. But from what I understand, I can put this light bar. I'm going to try mounting it to the holes on the either side of the sticker there. But what I really like is the whole kit was $40. It actually came with a rocker switch. So I'm going to go through the whole replacement process, see if this is a real pain, see if it was worthwhile, and then we'll see how long the $42 shipped light bar costs. So stay with me, bear with me. It's one of those simple maintenance things that's been kind of making me crazy on this thing. So now I'll be able to mow, hopefully mow at night again. Stay tuned. All right, first step I did is I took the light out of the box, and then opened up the parts to see what I have. And I'm going to use these brackets here. There were already holes pre-drilled, so I'm just going to use those. And what's nice is on the back of the light where this mounts, here, you loosen these Allen screws, and then they slide back and forth, so they can fit in any width. So it's nice. I can actually just use the holes that are there. So I will tighten this up. These bolts here, they actually go in through the side, right? So I will bolt it in, see how it looks. We'll come back and I'll show you what I got. After a little bit of messing around here to see where this will best work, here's what I did. So I took the sticker off because I think it just looked crappy with the sticker behind it. I loosened these Allen bolts here. That actually, they give you an Allen key. So I loosened them, and then I put this up on the bench, spun it upside down, and with this loosened, they slide back and forth. So with the parts that they get, it's gratuitous crotch shot. With the parts that they give you, let's turn this so you can see, the parts that they give you, you got a bolt, you got a washer and a lock washer. So now all I'm gonna do is I put it all the way at one extreme. So you see one side is short here and one side is long on this side here. So I put it all the way on that end and tighten them all the way down on the workbench because it's a little too hard to do underneath the mower. Same on here. So these are tight, but this is loose. So what I will do now is I'm just going to put the bolts back through the butt back here and stick it right there. And then I have to tighten the Allen keys to make sure it's, or the Allen key to make sure it is centered left and right. So I'm going to give that a shot and I'll show you. All right, so I've mounted the light. I have my wire hanging off the bottom right. It's actually designed fairly nice for this Chinese crapola you tend to buy on Amazon. But if you look here, that bolt is actually captured, so you don't have to worry about getting a wrench on this side. You can just tighten down the other side. So now all I got to do is center it back and forth where it looks good, or where it's pretty much centered, and tighten her down, then we'll worry about wiring. All right, I have the light mounted. It is level, and now it is secure. You can see, actually, I can pull on it pretty hard, and it's actually looking pretty good. And I like it a lot better without the sticker on. So next thing we're gonna do is do the wiring. So the wiring is gonna come off the right-hand side. Now I did that intentionally because if you look at these lights, which are loose because I'm taking them off, you can see a couple of zip ties down below. So we're gonna follow the same path that they go. So let's take a look. So open the bottom here. I need to clean that out. All right, so now I can see I got a line here. It's just zip tied to the frame to keep it out of all mowing parts or moving parts. Zip the seat up. So the wire here goes down, goes around, and then right up into this box. So let's take that apart and see where our wires and relays have to go. This here looks like a 4 mil, so we'll give that a shot. Looks like there's 3 of them. One down here, one here, one here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leverage this switch plate that's already here. They put lights in, the lights suck. I'm actually just gonna pop them and redo them. So we'll make sure, we'll just reuse this slot. I'm gonna push that out, push the new one in, and then I'm gonna try wiring it the same route. I'll probably try hooking it up before I zip tie everything together to make sure the power's gonna work. I'm gonna try explaining what I think this is here for the wires. So I've got a relay that's got to mount probably somewhere underneath the electrical panel there. I've got power, so that's going to be positive and negative ground. I've got a switch, and on the other end I've got some connectors that will go to the light, which is fascinating. Though there's no connectors on this end, so maybe we'll just hook them up a different way. 2 things I'm noticing, which is kind of fascinating, is it looks like these are designed to connect right to the battery. However, on the current setup, so these 2 came off the last switch, and then it's fused going into the ignition so that you don't ever leave the lights on and just drain the battery. So maybe I'll go that route. So I'm assuming that would work, but who the hell knows? So I'll give it that a shot and see what happens. All right, I have officially disconnected the old lights, which were connected with, looks like some bullets that were crimped and pressed a couple different ways from Sunday. So maybe that's why they didn't work. Who cares though, because these things are all black and shorted out and rusted anyway. So what I've done in the meantime, I now have a wire here running all the way up to the front. Obviously these 2 don't match. I'm gonna have to figure out something to do there. But that wire, as you can probably see, is here and then traces to here, back around here through the little hole. The goal is to keep it up somewhere in here, and I'll just zip it to these wires, and then that comes up to this big rat's nest. Comes up to this big rat's nest here, and then it snaps into this, and that goes up into my new switch. So if you're looking for the switch, so one thing you got to do is disconnect this, push the wire down through and snap the switch in from the top, which works pretty easy. Now I have to find a place to mount this, which I'm thinking maybe with this thing somewhere up in here maybe. And then I will connect to the battery, make sure it all works. But I'm gonna wire it up first and see what we got. So what I decided to do in the wiring is actually crimped a, I don't know what the hell you call it, but it's like a 16 gauge male connector. I crimped a 16 gauge male connector on, and I plugged it in, and I'm gonna shrink wrap these together, and I'll zip tie them up underneath. Just shrink wrapping them just to get them a little bit nicer and cleaner, and try to keep some water out of them. The wires still aren't zip tied in here. The only thing I've done is I now connected the two, so I don't actually need the power on. I don't need to turn the key on. I bypassed the accessories. So you can see when I turn the light on, this comes on. So looks like it all works now. Now I just need to tidy it up, find a place to hide the relay, and zip tie all the wires in place. All right, is this perfect? No, but the shrink wrap actually is looking pretty good. I still got this one to do. I just use a really simple Bic lighter. Frankly, because I'm not sitting near an outlet and it's a pain in my butt to go get the heat gun. So I'll just do it with the lighter this time. All right, after I was able to verify that everything works, I realized that there's always some very good excuse to leave lights on these things, and whether my kids are using it or I'm using it, or crap, a cat jumps on it in the garage, I don't want this battery to die. So what I did is, you'll see before we had a negative wire connecting to the battery and a positive. Now I disconnected the positive, I clipped the connector, and it was too short, so I spliced it with one of them shrink wrap solder points, and then I connected it up into here. So now, in order to use the lights, all right, I have to turn the lights, I have to click turn the accessories on. So for example, now if I turn it off, lights don't work. So I think it's a little bit safer this way. So you splice the red one. I wanted to make it a little bit longer so it wasn't too tight. It was too tight around the throttle cable, and I just didn't like it. So I added, it's a 15 gauge wire. So I added some 15 gauge wire, maybe 10, 12 inches of it, just so it'll be up underneath and out of the way. So that's what I decided to do. Now to clean it all up. As I go to clean all this up, one of the things I noticed is, so there's a relay on this side that connects here to this plastic, so you can't see, it's a plastic clip. On the back side, all I did was just press it on and clip it in place, so I don't think it needs any more than that. So that's hidden. Now to screw it all back together. So it appears this job is actually done. So I put it all back together. We will turn it on, flip the switch, lights come on, that's good. Looks like that'll be pretty good in the evening time. I'll show you what I actually used to do this job. I had a pair of nips. I wound up using these terminals here and the tool to do it. In order to, I think it's a 3/8. That's to put the bolts on the back of that. This was for the Allen key on the to take the electrical panel off, and then some miscellaneous wrenches and a lighter for the shrink wrap. And then those are the ends of about 15 zip ties I used of various lengths. When I spliced the wire to go to the ignition, I actually used these guys. So they're solder seal connectors. You heat them up. If you haven't used these before, they're actually a shrink on either side, and then the center, the wires actually, it's a soldered connection in the center. So use that with the heat gun, and it comes out nice. So, all right, I think that's it. I'll show you what she looks like when it gets a little darker out. All right, you can't see anything because I came outside in the dark on the mower. It is not completely night yet, but it's about 8 o'clock in September in New York. So I'm gonna start this thing up and turn the lights on, and I think I could mow like this. All right, here we go. tuning in to the Bearded Garage. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.